What I'm doing, I'm back here again for another video, and this is going to be kind of a video response to one of my favorite YouTubers called TheHORROman. If you guys don't know who he is, I'll leave a link down below to his channel. Well, he recently posted a video and asked a question to everybody who loves horror, and I wanted to do a video as just giving my answer. And in his video, he said that he had recently lost his grandfather and of how hard it was for him to lose him. They were both very close, and as you guys know, I lost my father and my grandmother both in the same year in 2015. So I know exactly what it feels like to lose someone that's very close to you. You know, losing a family member, is probably the lowest feeling you can ever feel. It's just something that completely destroys you. Even if you've had deaths before, like if you've had friends that have passed away, or deaths in your in your life, nothing really compares to having a death in your family, especially for somebody who you were really close to. I obviously was really close to my dad and my grandmother. She raised me basically, and my cousin Spencer, for since birth basically, and you never really get over that. And in his video, he asked a question that I thought was a really good question: is why do we love horror, or specifically, why do we enjoy watching movies of people dying? Because when you go through a certain death, in your life, you can't really understand why someone would take enjoyment out of seeing someone die, you know. Um, and I kind of thought about that for a little bit, and I took it took a few days for me to sort of think of what I would say if someone asked me, well, if you have a family member who died, why would you enjoy watching a movie where people die? And it made me start thinking about why I love movies in general. Movies have always been an escape for me. Ever since I was younger, I've always went to movies as a way of just helping me, forget about life, forget about whatever was going on, and just, for an hour and a half, just enjoy a movie, enjoy a fictional series or a fictional movie, about characters, about people that I've never met or I would never meet because they're characters, and just see them go through certain things. And I always felt that movies were very therapeutic. They're a great way for you to stop thinking about your life for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just sit down and just enjoy a movie. A movie about just characters you'll never meet. And horror movies, I think, are kind of like comedies in a way, where they help you deal with things. Like when you're watching a horror movie and you see people dying and things like that, it is horrible, but you look at it as a way of thinking, well, this could never really happen in real life. Like a Jason movie. That could never happen in real life. There isn't going to be a guy who's going to come back from the dead with a hockey mask and randomly kill people. That's just not going to happen. Now I do understand that yes, there are people who do kill people in real life, but when you watch a death in a movie, it never seems too real. Because that's not reality. You're disconnected from it. When you see somebody die in a horror movie, you don't, unless it's a character you really like, you don't really feel sorry for them because you know that they're just a character. Obviously, if it's somebody that you really liked and you wanted to see live, then yeah, it does affect you to a point where you're like, man, I really wish that person would have lived. I really like that character. But there's a disconnect between reality and real life, and I think that's what's good about horror movies, and the same thing with comedies. I mentioned comedies or comedians. I know comedians make a lot of jokes about stuff. I know some comedians, they make jokes about heart attacks. My father died of a heart attack. And whenever I hear someone joking about it, I don't feel upset over it because I know that that's their way of sort of making light of something that's really sad or upsetting. And also, there are people that have had that joke about their family members dying. Not necessarily their family members dying, like they're saying, "Oh yeah, my brother, he died," and haha, not like that. What I mean is, they may joke about one of their family members might have died from a heart attack or have died from a stroke, and the reason why they may make jokes about it is because it's their way of coping with it. It's kind of like people who laugh, at a funeral, or laugh when they think about somebody who they love to pass away. They're not laughing at that person's death. They're laughing at that person. They're laughing at, a memory of that person. Maybe that person was really funny. Maybe that person made jokes. Maybe that person, just whenever they think about that person, maybe a memory of that person popped into their head, and it was a funny memory, or it was a heartwarming memory, or something like that. So whenever I hear a comedian make a joke about something, I try to think, well, did this person experience something like that in their lives? I do know that there are some comedians that do it for shock value, and I don't really find that comedy as funny because I know that they're just doing it just to shock people, but at the same time, I know that they may have had, I just know that some comedians may have had something bad happen to them, and this is their way of coping with it. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because I think that horror movies are a way of coping with certain things. Like whenever I see someone die in a horror movie, I don't think, wow, it's so terrible that they died. I sort of think, well, he was a character in a movie, and the killer, of course, was going to go after this person because they did something. They smoked weed, or they had sex, or something. It's in every slasher movie, a bunch of teenagers who have their entire lives ahead of them, their entire lives. They might be going to college or whatever, and they all die. At one weekend out in the woods, or one weekend at a camp, or, one holiday, they all die. And, you kind of, you never think about, and you never have to think about how their parents must have felt that their kid was murdered by a killer. They never, you never think about that. You just think, wow, that guy got his head cut off. That was cool. And the reason why you think it's cool is because you don't think about it as, wow, this person just died. This person's no longer with us. You think, wow, that was a really cool special effect. The special effects artist is really good. You think about stuff like that because you don't have that connect with reality because you're watching a movie. Now, I do know that there are some movies that are based on true stories and that the people in the movies may have actually been dead, in which case I kind of see them differently. But it really depends on how far the movie is connected to the true story. Like, films like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre are really not based on a true story. They're just kind of inspired by somebody who did something similar to what Leatherface is doing. So when I see these people dying, yes, I do feel kind of sad because because for the most part, I think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre had some likable characters that none of them really did anything that made me not like them. But at the same time, the movie's so real and so raw that you're like, man, they really made this look realistic. Props to Tobe Hooper, or props to whoever helped make this movie look the way that it does. So I always think that, horror movies or comedies or any movie is an escape from reality. It's escape from having to think about these things. Like, you can watch a movie about someone dying, and your family member could have just died a little bit of, a couple days ago or a few weeks ago. And, you do feel sad that person, you do feel kind of sad that the person died if they're a character, but at the same time, I think that's a great way for you to sort of help cope with it, especially if it's a film that is not a horror movie. If it's a film that is maybe a family drama about a family member dying, I think that that's a great way for you to, you're not in touch with reality. You can relate to what the characters are feeling, but, you didn't know that person, so you're not sad for, you don't feel sad for, you're not sad, but you feel sad for the characters in the movie because you're supposed to feel sad for them. When it's if it's like a family drama, sorry, or just a drama about someone passing away. But with horror movies, it's different, because with horror movies, it's not so much, all there people are gonna, they had lives, they had family members that are gonna miss him. You don't think about that. You think, wow, it was really cool watching that guy get his head cut off, wasn't it? And I think that that's good. I think that, horror films, like any other films, are entertainment. They're a great way for you to sort of deal with things without really, thinking about them. Because I've never watched a horror movie and seen someone die and then thought about my dad dying. I never thought about that because that person's not really dead. That character is dead, and you kind of, you might feel sad that their character is dead because you like that character, but then again, you're probably gonna eventually watch another movie with that actor in it again. So. I do think that horror movies are a great way of coping. I think they're a great way of disconnecting yourself from reality. It's a great way of turning reality off. Just not thinking about your life, not thinking about your problems, not thinking about work, relationship problems, whatever issues that you have, they all kind of go away when you sit down and you watch a movie. And sometimes those movies involve a lot of people dying. Sometimes those movies involve two stoners going on a road trip trying to find White Castle. Harold and Kumar reference. So, I just think that horror is, it's a great way to sort of forget about, everything in your life and just enjoy a film, enjoy a piece of art, So I kind of hope I made enough sense, and I know that there are so many other reasons why people love horror, and there's so many other things I think that we can talk about as far as, watching people be killed on screen versus actually having a death happen in your life. And that's where I want you guys to come in. I want you guys to tell me down below, why do you love horror? Why do you see a difference between people dying, in a film versus someone actually dying in real life? I want to hear. Leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts on this? Why do you love horror, and why do you think it's a great? Do you think that it's a way for you to forget about things, or if you do think about a family member passing away before watching horror movies, because someone's dying in a horror film, why do you still watch horror movies? Why do we still watch horror movies when family members dying? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope I made some sense with this. I was kind of all over the place a little bit, but I wanted to give as many examples as I could. That's why I also talked about comedies and action movies, because I feel like next to horror movies, I feel like comedies and action are usually the movies people go to when they don't want to think about life. Drama films, they can take you out of life, but at the same time, there's a lot of drama movies that are about life and about real struggles that people go through. And if one of my family members passed away, I wouldn't want to be in a mood to watch a drama movie about a family going through something tough, So I do think that, as far as, not thinking about life and not thinking about your problems, horror movies and comedies are probably the two best films, and action, those are the three best, I guess, genres of films that you can enjoy and not have to think about the world around you. So Anyway, guys, let me know down below what you guys think. I know that we can have a conversation about this, a lot. I know this is kind of a big question because I'm not just asking, hey, what do you like about horror? Do you like, what's your favorite killer? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about why would you enjoy watching a horror movie of people dying when real people in real life die? That's what I want to know. Why do you enjoy horror? Why do you continue to enjoy horror? I'll continue to love horror regardless of what happens in my life. Because I see them as an escape. They're fun, they're entertaining, and I've always loved horror ever since I was very, very young, and I will always continue to enjoy horror. So, let me know down below. And like I said, I'll leave a link down below to the HORRORman's YouTube channel. I've talked about him a few times on his channel, and if you guys haven't checked him out, I highly recommend heading on over to his channel because he does a great videos. He's a great YouTuber. He's been around for years, and then he stopped for about 5 years, and he's now back, and he's coming back with full force, and he's been posting, multiple videos a week. So, there's a lot of great content on his channel. So if you guys don't know, who the HORRORman is, I'll leave a link down below. And if you guys want to do a response to his video, his video is called The HORRORman's Message. Why horror? That's the name of the video if you guys want to do a video response. As always, if you guys want to follow me on Facebook and Twitter, I'll leave a link down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.